Okay, for geometry today, we're going over lesson 3.5, which is writing graph equations of lines. We have covered the first few slides of this already in class, but we're going to go over them again for review. Okay. All right, so here's slope-intercept form is the y equals mx plus b, right? We should already have that down, right? Most of us do. The m we talked about in the previous lesson, and it stands for slope, right? So m stands for slope. The b, which we haven't really talked about, I know we talked about it when we did notes for 10 minutes, the other day, but b stands for y-intercept, right? And remember, we talked about what y-intercept is. It's where the graph crosses the which axis? Y-axis, good. All right. Now I've labeled here in red and blue. Right. Okay, now when we want to write an equation, I need to know both m, the slope, and b, the y-intercept. Okay, I need to know those two parts if I'm going to write down the equation. Right, does that make sense? Yes. Okay. So I need to know what my m is, and I need to know what my b is, and then I can plug them in. So my m, which stands for slope, how can I find it on this one here? All right? Let's ask Stephanie. How can you find slope here? Rise over run? All right, yeah, we have a graph here, so we can do rise over run. How do I read a graph? Left to right. So if I start at this point, and I want to go to this point, first thing I'm going to do is my rise, right? What's my rise? So is it 7? There we go, -7, we're going down. Then to the right, it's 2. So it's my rise is -7 over 2. Now, the way you were thinking about it, right, is you were saying a positive 7. Yeah, that's, if we go backwards, right, if you read it backwards, it's still going to say the same thing, okay? So in red, I'm going to go from the right point to the left point, which is kind of backwards to what we usually do, but it'll get us the same answer. My rise is, my run is -2, right? It's backwards. -2, so I get 7 over -2. Are those two the same? Yeah, because it doesn't matter if the negative sign is on top, on bottom, or right in the middle, right? If it has one negative sign, it means the same thing.
But, like, remember the red one?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that kind of like the bottom of the table thing?
Yeah, remember we said in math, to be polite, we don't leave it on the bottom, right? So, because that's putting your elbows on the table at dinner, right? So I wouldn't leave it like this in red. I would change that to either this or that, right? But they all mean the same thing, right? And we know that. But if we were going to write it down, it'd be nicer to put the negative sign on the middle or on the top. Okay. So that is my rise of a run. Thank you, Stephanie. Next part is my y-intercept, right? Nino, how can I find y-intercept? What is y-intercept? You don't remember? Okay, what? What are you pointing at? You don't know how to explain it? How about Brian? Can you help him out? Okay. The vertical line, which is called the what? The y-axis, right? So looking at the y-axis, okay, then what? Look at the y-axis and now what? Find where they intersect, which is right here, okay? All right. Then what? That's it? Right there? I have to do something else. So I just point an arrow. I just say, okay, the b is right here. So when I write my equation, I'm going to say y equals m plus, is that how I'm going to do it? What am I going to put in there? What number? 4. Thank you. I plug in 4 because that's our y number at the intercept, right? At the intersection. So everybody see where I got 4 from? Okay. The reason why I put in 4 instead of a giant arrow is because if you have 2 different papers, right, it's tough to draw an arrow from one paper to another paper. It just makes it tough. All right. So we get that for our equation. All right. And our b was, let me erase this line. Our b was 4. Okay. So if we find our n, we find our b, we can plug them in. Okay. All right. Any questions? Okay. This one, I think, is the one where we ended at. I don't know if we actually did it or not, but oh, we did do it. Okay. So we did do this one, so we're going to redo it. All right, so we have an equation of a parallel line, right? Write the equation of the line that passes through the point -1, 1 that is parallel to the line with the equation of y equals -2x minus 3. Okay, now, how many lines are we going to have in this problem? 2, right? One that they gave us, one that we're coming up with. So there's going to be 2. Okay? So I'm going to call this one line 1. Okay, that's a cursive L. Otherwise, they look like 1s for me. All right, so I gotta make them fancy. All right? Line 2, I need to come up with. Right? What do I need to know to come up with an equation of a line? Slope? Intercept. Okay, first off, can we find the slope? Do we know what that is?
Yeah.
How do you know it's 2, Draven? It's parallel and? Parallel slopes are the same. And so this slope is 2, so our slope is 2. All right, good. Good, all right? Now, how can I find, what do you have? Okay, now we need to find b, right? Do parallel lines have the same b value? We didn't say anything about that. Parallel lines do not have the same b value. What else? Do I need anything else from this line 1? Okay. Once you get slope from the first line, ignore it. That's all we need from it, right? So we need to find out the b value. Well, I could try graphing it and then look at it like we did last time, right? But we're going to solve for it, okay? Now, this is slope-intercept form, right? Y equals mx plus b. Do we know what m is?
Yes.
We said it was what?
Small.
2. Right? And I need to know b, right? Do I know an x value?
Yes.
And a y value?
Yes.
From right here, right? So I'm going to use a little bit of solving before I do the equation. So my y value is 1. My x value is -1. I still don't know b, but now we can solve for it, right? Okay. 2 times a -1. Okay. Then what? What's my b value? 3, right? 3. Now, since I have my slope, I have my b value, I can come up with the equation, right? Y equals 2x plus 3. Right? Whenever you find your equation, it should always look similar to this, right? When I have a y and an x, right? We're not going to leave those as -1 and 1, right? We're going to change them back. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Question? It doesn't work all the time. Okay? I think this one works out, so there's like similarities, right? Because what Jesse was asking was that was a +3. Over here, this one was a -3, right? It's just a coincidence here. If I remember right, wasn't the next one a coincidence too? Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next one. The b value can be anything. It does not have to be related to the first equation at all. All right? Okay, so this one here, right? This is perpendicular. Okay? So they gave me one line. We need to solve for the second line, right? Okay. So what's my slope of this line going to be? Positive 1. Did you say positive half? And I think you said positive half as well. Why is it positive 1/2? Go ahead, tell me.
Opposite of
Opposite, right? So, and what? There you go. You forgot the reciprocal part, right? So opposite means we go from negative to positive. Reciprocal means we go from 2/1 to 1/2. Okay, now, what's my b value going to be? You can solve it, right? Let's have Brenda. Can you help me set up how I'm going to solve my b? Yeah. So y equals mx plus b. Okay. And now help me plug in numbers. So y equals 1/2 x plus b. We can plug in more numbers. Okay, good. Right? So Brenda helped me. She gave me my m. She gave me my x and gave me the b. Now all we have left to do is solve for b, right? 1/2 times 2. Minus 1, we get 2 is equal to b. So my b value is 2. Again, the two b values are related, right? Do they have to be? No, not at all. Okay. Now that I have my m and b, I can just plug them in. Y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Okay. Does everybody feel confident solving for b? Okay. What if they don't tell me slope or y-intercept, right? They're not giving me any information. Well, if we have 2 points, we can find both, okay? If we have 2 points, we can find both. 2 points is more work than if they gave me slope in 1 point, right? 2 points is going to be more work than using that perpendicular one. It's going to be more work than if they told me both pieces, but we can still solve it, okay? How can I find my m value?
y is y2 minus
Oops, that's a 1. There we go. All right. Your way would have worked, but that's too long. Okay. All right. So that's how we find m, right? Once we know m, we're going to have to do plug everything in again, right? So let's find out what m is going to be. What's my y2, Katie? 11. And then what's my y1? 3. Okay. And the bottom, Alexis, what's my x2? 4, 2. Which is going to give me 8/2, which is, so that's my m value, right? How can I find my b value? Oh, like we just did, right? So, can you help me set it up? Ooh, does it matter? Let's try it. Which one do you think we should use? 2, 3? Yeah, okay. All right, so help me set up the numbers, right?
So 3 equals 4 parentheses 2 plus 2.
Okay. So this gives me 3 is equal to 4 times 2 is 8 plus b minus 8 minus 8 is equal to b. Right? Which is good. So that one tells me that my b is -5. So Dylan, can you help me write out the equation, my final answer? No? You're lost? Kyle, can you help me? The final answer, the equation at the end. We have m, we have b. What's the final answer look like?
Y equals 4x plus -5.
Yep, that was good. Okay? It could be this, or it could have been -5, right? Both mean mathematically the same thing. right? Okay. All right, good. Over here in this blue box, I'm going to do the same thing, except for I'm going to see if it's going to be any different if I use 4 and 11. Okay? Let's see, because I'm not sure. So I'm going to do plus b. So this is 11 is equal to 16 plus b, minus 16, minus 16. Did we get the same thing? So it doesn't matter which point you choose. No, mathematically get the same thing, all right? Although, if I ask Griselda, which one would you rather do math with, 2 and 3 or 4 and 11? Why? They're smaller, right? Usually smaller numbers are easier to do math with, right? So if you choose the one that's easier to do math with, it might save you a little bit of a headache down the road. All right. Here we have a graph of gym membership cost, right? So we want to write an equation of this line. What do we need to write an equation of a line? Slope, y-intercept. Do I have the slope? I could probably find it pretty easily, right? Now I could go try to do rise over run, right? But can I tell how far it is from here to here up by counting boxes? No, the boxes are, I mean, it's in the between boxes and it's too big, and so we're probably gonna have to do it the long way, right? All right, so Darren, can you help me set this up long ways? Okay, now with numbers. Okay, good. If I do my math there, that's 132 over 3, which I think, is that 44? I think it is. I think it reduces down to 44. So my slope is 44, right? What else do I have to find? The y-intercept, right? Let's ask Jessica, can you help me set up the equation to find the b value, the y-intercept? So we have equals mx plus b, right? Do we know a y? Where do we need to look at? One of those two, right? Which one are you going to use? Does it matter? No. So let's use this one down here. What's my y one? My y value? Right? Y always goes second, right? It goes x, then y. Is equal to my slope, which is 44, times my x value, which is 2, plus b. So I get 231 is equal to 88 plus b, minus the 88, minus the 88. B is equal to, what's that got to be? That's good. So my b value is 143. How about Jesse? Can you help me set up the final equation? Y equals 44 plus 143. Something x somewhere, right? There we go. Okay, now, then it says explain what the slope and what the y-intercept means. Okay? So what does that 44x mean? Think about what this means in real life. What does the 44x mean? Up 44 over 1. But what does this mean in real life? Increasing money per month. So this is a gym membership, right? How much does it cost to use the gym every month? $44. $44 a month. What does the y-intercept mean? What's the 143 mean? Down payment. When you join the gym, right, you have to pay a membership fee, right? You pay them $143 right when you start. Then every month you have to pay them $44 more. Okay? Yeah, it is. Right? Some gyms are this expensive. Some are less expensive, like I think 24-hour fitness in Hermiston. I think it's like 20 something, 21, 25 or something like that. I don't remember. Ones like that usually cost a little bit more because they have a pool and like a hot tub, and so it's a little bit bigger, right? If it's bigger, it's a little bit nicer, then it usually costs a little bit more. And there's some, like the ones that have like a golf course on them and stuff, those ones can be like 80, 90, 100 bucks a month. All right, we have standard form as well. Okay, standard form looks like, ax plus by equals c. An example of that, right, because a, b, and c will be numbers. An example of that's like 2x minus 3y is equal to 12. All right. Standard form is good for computers. Okay. Anybody that is going to get into computers, like writing computer language and stuff like that, it's good for computers. Computers can solve standard form really quickly. Okay. They're okay to graph. They're not as easy as slope-intercept form, but they're all right to graph, right? And they're easy to find the intercepts. Okay, so that's why we use standard form. Right. So to compare slope-intercept form has y by itself, right? Standard form has variables on one side, numbers on the other, right? Because c is going to be all our numbers. Right? So we're going to put all the numbers without variables on one side, all the variables on the other side. Right? Like here, we look at this one, right? All my numbers are over here. Right? They're all in that one group. On this side, I have x's and I have y's. All right? Okay. Okay, now we're going to graph this equation in standard form. Okay, so let me get a graph up here. And when we graph in standard form, it's we're going to use intercepts. Okay, so basically, how many points do we need to graph a straight line? 2, right? 2. So we like to do easy math, right? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to come up with 2 points. One is going to have 0 for x, right, which would be the y-intercept. The other one is going to have 0 for y, which is going to be the x-intercept. Then we can connect those 2 dots. Okay? So this one is y-intercept. This one is x-intercept. Okay? What was I going to say? All right, so if I plug in 0 for x in that top equation, so I get 3 times 0 plus 4 times y is equal to 12. What happens to the 3 times 0? Yeah, it goes away, right? That's why we chose 0. And then 4y is equal to 12, right? Most of us could probably do that pretty quickly, right? Which has to be 3, right? Divide by 4, divide by 4, y is 3. So I get 0, 3. That's my y-intercept. Okay? Okay? Yeah, to do the x-intercept is the other way around, right? So x-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for y. So I get 3 times x plus 4 times 0, and that's equal to 12. right? What happens to the 4 times 0 part? All right, it goes away because it all equals 0. And I get 3x is equal to 12. Divide by 3, we get what? 4. Which is 4, 0. All right? I have 2 points. I can, kind of, right? Connect the dots. And then I have my line. Now, a reminder, okay? If I'm looking for y-intercept, which variable do I care about? The y, so I'm going to make x 0. For x-intercept, which variable do I care about? X, so I'm going to make which variable 0? Y 0, okay? And then we just connect those two intercepts and we call it good. All right, any questions over this? Nothing. We already used it, right? We used 12 when we divided here, right? No. It's not the same as slope-intercept, okay? So we're not going to be using it like that. Okay. Let's see. All right, so this is our last example. We have like 5 minutes left in class. We should be able to get through this last example. You guys will get it probably right down the homework assignment, but we'll have time tomorrow to work on this, okay? So at a DVD store, you can rent DVDs for $4 each. An internet company offers a flat fee of $15 per month. What's that like? Yeah, Netflix, right? $15 per month for as many rentals as you want. How many DVDs do you need to rent to make the online rental a better buy? Okay? So let's come up with a equation for this, right? So what I really want to know is when are these going to be equal, right? So I want to say when is store going to be equal to online? Yeah. When we set it up, it'll probably, I think it's going to be in standard form. Okay, so store is going to be equal to online. What's it cost in the store to rent? For what? $4 per movie, right? How many movies are you going to rent?
4.
You guys know how many you're going to rent already? What if you get busy? Are you going to rent less? What if you have a lot of extra time? What if your girlfriend dumps you? Right, you got a lot of extra time on your hands, right? You can rent more. So we're going to say this is 4x, okay? We're not putting away our stuff yet. 4x, I don't know how many I'm going to rent yet. That's going to be equal to, how much does it cost online? Okay? Now, are there any y's in here? Are there any y's in there? I only see an x, okay? Which means since I only have one variable, I can solve for this, okay? I want to get x by itself. What do I need to do? Okay. 3.75. Thank you. Now, so if I want to know which one, how many I need to rent to make the online rental a better buy, what are you guys going to say? 4, right? Because you can't rent 3/4 of a movie, right? So we're going to say 4 movies, right? Okay. That's our homework. That's our homework assignment. Okay. We don't have very much time today, but we will have time tomorrow. Okay.